Dude, are you gonna do anything for April Fool's Day?
Oh no, man. I've been dieting the last few weeks, and I'm really tired.
Well, I've been dieting too, and you're making me do this whole series of videos that hopefully will be out in November.
I don't know. Do people even do April Fool's Day videos anymore?
Not really, but you can bring him back.
I wouldn't even know what to do.
I have an idea.
What?
Piper Penguin and his fantastic flying machine.
Stop making up things.
No, it's real.
And why would I review that on April Fool's Day?
Because it's special.
How? Oh my God.
Knew that would get you up.
Alright, so if you go way back on this channel, you'll see that my very first NDTV was on a film called Spider's Web: A Pig's Tale. Oh man, look at how adorable I am, and that terrible video quality. Well, that film is to this day one of the funniest bad films I've ever seen. It's the kind of bad that you just cherish. And it came from a studio called Sparkplug Entertainment, a studio founded by a man named Michael Shelp, who released several animated films in the 90s, including In Ant's Life, the first 3D mockbuster ever created, as far as we know. He started Sparkplug in 2006 and released a bunch of cheap rip-offs from then until 2015. I can't tell if they're still around, but given that the website is down and they haven't released anything in a decade, I'm gonna guess not. Anyway, when I originally reviewed Spider's Web, not many people had talked about these movies, but now it seems anyone who talks about bad movies or bad animation has done at least one. But I usually only see them talk about Spider's Web, their B-movie ripoff Plan B, or their Cars knockoff A Car's Life, in which there were 4. But they actually have a few more that don't seem to get that much attention, and the one we'll be looking at is called Piper Penguin and His Fantastic Flying Machine, that I think got a release in other parts of the world sometime in the late 2000s, you know, to capitalize off the penguin craze of the time with stuff like Happy Feet and Surf's Up, but we wouldn't get it here in the US until 2011, which happens to be when Happy Feet 2 came out, so it still fits.
Well, I don't want to risk being spoiled, so for this April Fool's Day, let's go back to my roots. This is Piper Penguin and His Fantastic Flying Machine.
Well, just based off that title, I'm gonna guess this is a spin-off of In Search of Santa, focusing on that Eugene character. Speaking of In Search of Santa, the animation is slightly worse than that film, but I would say it is a slight improvement on Spider's Web and maybe even the first Car's Life. Not good, but for a small production in the mid to late 2000s, I expect worse. Anyway, here we see 4 penguins and a walrus.
And if you're wondering why a walrus is at the South Pole when they're native to the Northern Hemisphere, don't worry, it explains it. Kinda.
So the other 4 want to go sliding, but Piper here is distracted by a book.
Dork! Are you gonna try it, Pepperoni?
Can you repeat that?
Are you gonna try it, Pepperoni?
His name is Pepperoni. His parents looked at him after he just hatched out of an egg and decided to name him Pepperoni. How do you even know what pepperoni is?
Well, Piper accidentally slides down, apparently with a jetpack on. They would make great use for penguin sledding. Anyway, one kind of fun detail is that all the penguins have names that start with P. We already know Piper and Pepperoni, but there's also Penny and Pickles.
Unless you're this Pickles, I'm not interested.
Also, the walrus is named Winthrop, so kind of clever to have all the animals have a name that starts with the same letter as the animal they are.
I lost a slipper!
I hate you already. So Piper wants to fly, but can't because, you know, the whole flightless bird thing. And you know, I'm kinda getting sick of stories about how awesome flying is. I personally just think it's airplane propaganda. You know what actually is awesome? Trains. I will say that there might be a little too much white. I know it's supposed to be the snow, but it does sometimes get a little hard to look at.
But how about we talk about the voice actors, because I thought this was just gonna be a no-name cast, but no. Turns out there's some names here.
Piper is voiced by Oliver Wyman, though he's credited as Pete Zaruskia. Wyman has been voice acting since the 80s and has been in everything from One Piece to Yu-Gi-Oh! To TMNT, and even some movies like Sheep and Wolves and Animals United. Penny is voiced by Kat Cressida, who's done tons of video games including The Wolf Among Us and EverQuest 2, some movies like Tarzan and Tinkerbell, and appeared in shows like Jackie Chan Adventures, Phineas and Ferb, and most famously Dexter's Lab, where she voiced Dee Dee, but only in seasons 2 and 4. The other two, however, aren't as famous. Winthrop is voiced by Harry Carson, who is a co-writer on this along with Stephen Beck, and Pickles is voiced by Denise Finelli, who has been in several other Sparkplug movies. You may remember her as Crystal from Spider's Web, and if you've seen A Car's Life, you know Speedy.
No wonder I had such an instant hatred for Pickles.
And now in local news, all of Penguinville is abuzz with the fact that young Piper Penguin is preparing to attempt yet another effort this coming Saturday to defy the laws of gravity and fly.
Slow news day at PNN.
As you know, Piper is the son of noted inventor and town dignitary Portnoy Penguin.
Well, I didn't know that before, but thanks for telling me.
So Piper has been trying to invent something to get penguins to fly, but keeps failing, only hurting Pepperoni. These failed attempts could be funny, but they're so slow. Anyway, here's some krill.
Attention! Line up, recruits! Move, move, move! Come on, fellas!
Why does he sound like Daffy?
See that, men? That is why you have gone through your many hours of training, and these are your amphibious vehicles. You will drop into the bottle, then the bottle will get you directly to the amphibious vehicle, where you'll find yourself riding to glory.
Well, that's dark. Telling them they're going on this super important mission when it's just them getting eaten? There's some social commentary in there, but I don't think this movie's gonna get into it.
All right, children. Everyone open your geography books. Today, we will study the big, wide world.
Well, I hate her voice already. Who voices her? Of course.
Will the quiz count toward our final grade?
Quizzes always count, Pickles.
I know, but maybe it wouldn't count because of all the work we have to do for next week's senior prom. As you all know, I'm in charge of the decorations.
If we already know it, Pickles, you don't have to remind us.
The next few minutes are mostly just fucking around, being boring, then this happens. Oh god, the rapture started! Actually, this is a drill for if they're ever attacked by a killer whale named Wiley. Oh, there's also a romance between the teacher and the coach.
I gotta say, you are looking oh so very lovely today.
Thank you, I'm sure.
You know, I surely am looking forward to sharing chaperoning duties with you at the prom.
I trust it'll be a mutually satisfying experience.
Ew.
So far, there isn't actually much story, just things happening, like we meet this bully named Punch. He's voiced by Mark Gesnar, who has appeared on shows like Orange is the New Black, Veep, and NCIS Hawaii, but also in the movie Tar. Different Tar.
You know what? I'm going to the prom.
You, Winthrop? You mean, with a date?
Actually, I'm gonna sing.
Please don't.
By the way, Penny has a crush on Piper and wants him to ask her to prom.
Well, I haven't given it much thought. I mean, he hasn't even asked me.
How is this the second thing I reviewed in a row where a girl wants a guy to ask her to prom and won't just ask him herself? So Piper goes home to his dad and... Did they somehow make a penguin balding? He's voiced by the late Peter Fernandez, who has a career going back to the 40s, but the only thing I know him from besides other Sparkplug stuff is his appearances on Courage the Cowardly Dog, where he played pretty much any 1 to 2 shot character, Ben Tarantella, Mad Dog, The Magic Tree, and several others. Makes sense given that he was the voice director on the show. Well, anyway, what's up with Piper and his dad?
He's a good dad, really. He's just real busy.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Really, we're doing the workaholic dad thing. This movie doesn't even hit an hour and is about a penguin wanting to fly, and they can fit in that? Well, if you're wondering why a walrus is at the South Pole...
Once upon a time, there was a baby walrus who washed up on the shore of Penguin Beach.
Where he died soon afterwards due to an inadequate food supply, the end.
So they adopted him, but Piper wants to build a flying machine so they can get him back home. I'll admit this was funny.
It's flying. Oh, it fell.
Unfortunately, they aren't alone. That's a very small killer whale. They escape, and after some teasing, Piper prepares to show off his new flying machine. We get some more with those krill. Anyway, how does this go?
It's flying! It's flying! No!
That kid was right. He is a doofus.
Hey, at least he got it in the air.
The old saying is true. If penguins were meant to fly, they had been given wings. Big ones that they can actually fly with. Or in Piper's case, given a brain, too.
Don't you just love when news programs insult teenagers?
You know, I'm beginning to think that with how many times Pepperoni's been hurt, maybe the reason he doesn't talk is because he forgot how. Piper does actually want to ask Penny to the prom, but so does Punch.
Hello, gorgeous.
Oh, hello.
I'm still deciding who I'm gonna ask to the prom, Penny. Interested?
In your dreams.
Hold on. Is this all a remake of The Pebble and the Penguin? You know, that movie's not actually that bad. It's not one of Don Bluth's best, but if you can forgive some of its flaws, it's actually pretty solid.
Anyway, we have about 20 minutes left. Can we get on with the plot?
Today we're going to learn the fine sport of curling.
Curling, really. You got 20 minutes left of this and you're wasting it on sports sweeping.
Control the sweep! Control the sweep!
Oops.
I honestly can't believe I didn't see that joke coming.
What I saw up there was a disgrace to the sport of curling.
And that's saying a lot.
Punch asks Penny to the prom and she accepts. Why, I don't know. Also, why are we in the desert now? Piper and Pepperoni are attacked by the whale but escape. That was worth 20 seconds. Dad offers to help.
Pops, if you don't mind, I really want to do this on my own. You didn't have any help with the ice driller, did you? So you see how much it means to me to be able to say, I did this. I've got to show everybody.
Well, no wonder you always fail. Time for prom.
Miss Priam, you think we might trip the light fantastic?
Dance together? What kind of example would that set for the children?
A pretty darn hot one, if you ask me.
Why am I more interested in the romance between the coach and the teacher?
And tonight only, their special lead singer, our very own Winthrop the Walrus.
Oh God, here it comes.
Jelly belly, roly poly, jelly belly, holy moly, jelly belly.
That's what I want.
This isn't the worst thing ever.
I mean, it's not great, but it is better than I was expecting. Anyway, back to the krill. Cool. And I'll admit, this edit is pretty funny.
Piper.
I was right about needing more thrust. It's working.
There's no lead up to that, it just happens.
Hey, everybody, there's a bomb coming!
Alright, there's some pretty good lines.
Piper, how could you? Just because you didn't have the nerve to ask me to the prom didn't mean you had to destroy it.
What?
I think you should stop trying. Stop trying to do anything because everything you do comes out wrong.
Wow, you're awful. Go to the prom with some guy you don't even like and tell your friend/lover to give up on his dreams? Fuck you, Penny.
Piper goes home defeated and is ready to give up, but Dad comes in.
One thing runs in our family. Never give up.
But Dad, what if I never succeed?
Then you've done a lot more than most penguins have. You tried. And I think you'll make it. I have faith in you.
Alright, the movie does have a good message. Standard, but it handles it fine. So the news continues to shit on Piper.
That he was going to turn out to be such a destructive menace.
He's not a menace. He's just Piper.
Well, you had a change of heart.
Unfortunately, Wiley the whale finds them and takes Peraldo, the cameraman, and Penny. And he intends to use them as bait to capture the rest of them. And they all decide to go, even the children, because you should always bring children on a rescue mission. Piper has a better idea, using his new flying machine that's basically a hot air balloon mixed with a plane. Unfortunately, it's not inflating fast enough.
Winthrop, cover your... Winthrop?
Okay, sure.
Flat faster, Pepperoni! Flat faster! Pepperoni, you rock!
Okay, sure. I'm not even sure what happened there.
They save all the penguins by putting Wiley in a net, and since it's out of water, that pretty much means he's gonna die soon.
Bobby! Bobby! Bobby!
Could I have ever doubted you?
Wasn't so much doubt as it was call him a fuck up at his lowest point in front of the entire school. Piper, you can do better.
I've just made an important decision every penguin girl has to make.
who she'd like to spend the rest of her life with.
You guys are in high school, you might be rushing things a bit. So with more flying machines made, Piper, Pepperoni, and Winthrop head for the North Pole. And Penny and Pickles come with them. Again, you're all high schoolers, right? Oh, and what about those krill?
Phil, we were in an amphibious vehicle and we got burped out.
Don't worry, this guy'll give us plenty more chances.
That was totally worth a subplot. Again, it's kind of disturbing. Well, that shit was boring.
Okay, good things first. The animation, for the budget they had, is at least competent. It's not good, but at least it's not ungodly creepy to look at. Some of the voice acting is pretty solid, there's a few jokes that land, and it does have a decent message. And the way the message is woven into the plot feels natural. Bad stuff, it's pretty padded. This thing could have easily been cut down to 45 minutes, possibly even less. The characters are pretty standard and dull with a forced romance, and while the animation is passable for the budget, it's still pretty clearly low budget. And honestly, the biggest problem for me was that it was just kinda dull. It didn't have that many funny moments, and while you could make the argument it's better made and even written than Spider's Web, that movie I will never forget. Well, this one will likely fade from my memory pretty quickly.
Well, thanks for that, I think.
Well, you're welcome. Now, I must get back to work. Away!
Happy April Fool's Day, everyone. Bye.
Will it count as much as every other quiz?
I'm afraid so, Pickles. Percy, don't pick your beak!